well, Canada's on fire, really. Like there's no beating around that bush. The Western Canada is largely engulfed in flames, and in that climate alarmism narrative that goes along with Canada being on fire from the Justin Trudeau Liberals, we see just yesterday our Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland, also the Finance Minister. She's prancing around, of course, giving climate talks in her fossil fuel powered ways of transportation. And we have a little clip to share with you because she actually received a speeding ticket while she was on this climate alarmism tour, where she says, she acknowledges that she was driving too fast and she won't do it again, apparently.
Sure.
I'm wondering what your reaction is to the leak about your speeding ticket, and do you have concerns about the fact that that was leaked publicly?
So look, I did get a speeding ticket driving between Grand Prairie and Peace River. I was driving too fast, and I won't do it again.
You get one question, right? Like these journalists, the thing is, okay, this is, let's point it out. Let's ask her about this. But I don't know if I would waste my question on something like, hey, you got a speeding ticket. Can you confirm or deny?
Well, and she also asked, are you concerned that it was leaked publicly? So we should say it was leaked to the counter signal. But what kind of question is that? That's like the question I would ask my mom if she was in trouble, like give her nudge, nudge. This is the easy one. It's not about, the fact that it was leaked publicly. It's the fact that you go around telling us that you ride bicycles everywhere you go, when we already know that you, of course, have a chauffeur that takes you around in a limo, and you fly back and forth between Ontario and Ottawa often. But you put on this facade, and here you are saying everything's about climate change, you have to save people, and yet you're risking people's lives to go push that propaganda. And the question that comes out is, are you concerned that this information was leaked? It's horrible.
Well, and when did it not become standard practice that information about politicians, like the fact that we're even referring to information about politicians as being leaked, these are public officials. They need to face the public's scrutiny. So something like this where, personally, I don't see the big deal yet. I mean, everybody has sped one way or another in their life. But these are public servants, they're public officials, and they need to be held to a higher standard. And we need to continue to scrutinize them. Prancing around and pretending like there's some veil of privacy and secrecy here is just really bizarre to me. And I would have used that question, a speeding ticket. I thought you didn't own a car. I thought you were preaching about using fossil fuels. Is it an electric car? Those using that to lead into a more politically relevant question, I would think would be the way to approach something like that. I'm just shocked that this is the government funded media, ladies and gentlemen, that we're talking about right here in your face. Those are the kinds of questions that they ask. And it's great to use that, as I said, as sort of a precursor to lead into a legitimate question. But this in and of itself, I don't think is any form of a legitimate question. And we should be not pretending that there needs to be this veil of secrecy or privacy here. They're public servants. They are supposed to work for us, and they hide behind this idea that they're so transparent, and they campaign on transparency and accountability. And you can't get either of those things if we pretend like there's this veil of secrecy around a public figure like Chrystia Freeland, who froze bank accounts of Canadians who opposed her government's sanctions on them in terms of vaccine mandates and COVID-related travel restrictions. And so, these we're politically inclined Canadians who were exercising their democratic due process to protest after being disregarded by this same government for 2 years. Like, let's not forget the Canadians were silenced, slandered, and smeared by our media, by governments for 2 full years before they rallied and gathered and took to the nation's capital to air their grievances with this government. And you saw Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland order the seizure of their bank accounts, shut them all down, close them out from their financial institutions. And then here she is, she can get a speeding ticket, and it's all, oh, well, are you concerned that that was leaked to the public? Like, this is
Yeah.
outrageous.
And the whole, I won't do it again. Like, oh, you're so believable. I wonder how many high fives the officer got, the officer who ticked her got when he said, oh my gosh, I just fined Chrystia Freeland. Like, that would have been a good moment to see. And kudos to the whistleblower in this case. I don't know how easy it is to see how people, traffic violations in Alberta, but it's super easy in BC. You're right. It's completely public. We have a whole site. You can search people's names and see everything they've done on the road. But yeah, that would have been a moment that I would have liked to have been a fly on the wall.
Well, only in Alberta, right? I would not expect that from the Ontario Provincial Police, that they would pull over someone like Deputy Minister Chrystia Freeland and she would not get away with it scot-free. So I think that this is only likely to have happened in Alberta. So thank you to the kind of
maybe BC too, because a lot of times when I cover protests, there are a lot of officers that, will whisper or shake my hand and say, we really appreciate what you're doing. So maybe she would have got the fine in BC too. You never know.
And likely Saskatchewan as well.